So we got the 3 backup singers over there? Oh, all right, okay.
Are you ready now? This is
The Shirelles.
So, I understand that you don't like being asked stupid questions. What questions would you like to be asked?
I don't mind any kind of questions.
No, but say... Come on. This is called drawing you out. What kind of questions would you like to be
No,
asked?
go ahead, ask me whatever you want.
Okay. Gonna be that way.
Just a minute. Give me some water, right?
Is it really true you come from Hamilton?
Yeah. Although, I haven't, it's a long time ago. I don't even relate to it at all. Not even to the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Aren't they big? I mean, they're big right now, aren't they? The Hamilton Tiger Cats.
They are, yeah.
Well, we don't hear you a lot here. Are you playing regularly in Montreal or around?
Yeah, I'm starting to play more regularly in Montreal.
Is that playing with this particular group? How long does that go back?
This is 2 years now. Like spaced like 3 or 4 months apart,
That you play at those kind of intervals, you mean?
Yeah.
Why don't you play more often, Sonny?
Well, the reason why I haven't played lately is health reasons. I've had bad health. Had that for a long time, so that is the reason. But lately, I've been feeling a lot better. So I'm here. I am now. Like, I'm playing in Montreal in 2 weeks. I'm playing in Kingston the coming next weekend. Doing a guest thing there. So I'm gonna try and do a bit more.
There seems to be sort of a consensus that if a musician of a certain caliber, of a very high caliber, maintains an elusive profile, then they're considered to be legendary in their ways. How do you feel about that?
I think that's not my case because when I was playing back in the 60s there, my name was going around, because musicians would come in from New York and they'd hear me and they'd tell me, like Lee Morgan and Horace Silver and those musicians would come in, they'd hear me and they'd take my name back to the States, and that's how my name became known there, and I was playing all the time at that time. But I wasn't into the States at that time, so that the legend started building around that. Then when I actually did go to New York too, I built up a following in New York. That is an underground following because, I was there and I didn't get at the time I was there, I didn't get the gigs that I was wanting to get on my own with my own band, So I played in some out of the way places like the Cafe au Go-Go, and I had a following of not the mainstream following there, So.
You even made a legendary Blue Note record, though. I mean, when you were in New York with Hank Mobley, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so something happened for you in New York.
And that came because I had the name from here in Toronto.
About right now, are you writing at all now, or do you have aspirations to playing original material? I noticed, the first thing I noticed when I came in last night, because I used to listen to you 7 or 8 years ago here, playing with Don Thompson and such. Then you mixed up, or your album, Sackville Records, for example, you mixed up standards plus original things that seemed to me at the time to be more free form, or they would be built more to go into that ecstatic realm that you like to inhabit. Are you writing right now, or do you have aspirations to play more?
Well, you see,
a mixture of things.
Well, this is what I found lately, like in Montreal, in some of the playing I've been doing lately. I've played some more avant-garde things, and people in the clubs weren't very well, like listening to it. I mean, actually even getting up and leaving. So in some of the clubs anyway. So
More so than what we...
I feel now that people aren't that interested in what I was doing before, you know. So I got this band together, and I thought I'd take some of the older tunes, like those older jazz tunes, like Milestones,
Right.
and try to do something on them, and then stretch them out a bit too, like, you know.
Well, I mean, they certainly get going on them.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
the band is just burning after.
Yeah.
By the
And-
second and third set, the band is. See, myself, when I listen to it, I have an automatic aversion to standards,
Yeah.
which may or may not be fair, but nonetheless, I hear standards. But when I hear your band, I hear them, or when I hear other bands as well, like they transcend.
Yeah.
Woody Shaw, for example, when
Oh,
he was
yeah.
here, they played the blues, but they burned it
Oh, yeah.
so
Yeah.
extremely that you. Okay, I had no misgivings because they seem, just like with your band. For me, there's always a tendency, like, because in the past 20 years there has been a tendency away from chord changes and such.
Yeah.
Which, my next question would be, what do you listen to?
I listen mostly to classical music and Cecil Taylor and things like that. Like, because I put the whole thing together. Like, I listen to rock music, classical
Right.
music. I find something related in the whole thing. Like, I was just upstairs listening to that Sting on the, there, and I like that too, So I try to put all this together into one thing. And another thing is that, was Woody Shaw playing a concert or?
He was playing in a club.
Oh, yeah. Well, I find, like, I come into a club, and the first thing I find, like tonight here, was like a supper type of people here, And you go up there and you don't, like the only thing you can do is like play a standard or something, and even try to warm them up that way, And that's what I do.
Tonight I thought about something years ago, when you used to play at George's and we all used to hang out at George's. They always used to say, play the first set like really cool. Remember that? And then the middle set a bit more, and the last set like, out there.
The next time what you
Wasn't it? It was like that tonight a bit, wasn't it?
It's like that because you can't do it. I mean,
What you need to do here is play a place like the Bamboo, which is a big club. It would probably hold 400 people, and there's no dinner involved. I mean, it's just like play. You play one or two nights, and it's like they take you for what would like to do. And
Well, when he comes back next summer, he's on his way to the Edmonton Jazz Festival. Maybe he should play the Cameron, the Rivoli, and the Bamboo on different nights and find out about all those different audiences.
Right. There's a whole alternate scene here, which, as nice as this club is, they don't know anything about the alternate scene nor the groups that play in it and stuff like that.
This is jazz club.
And in fact, the audiences that are being cultivated in Toronto to accept musicians doing what they want. People want to hear Sonny Greenwich come to Toronto, say, okay, we don't want, don't play standards. Play whatever in your wildest imagination.
And in this club, like, those people will be mixed with the other people.
Right.
And it starts off with the other people that are just sitting there eating or something,
Didn't you say tonight to me earlier that this was you come here after 2 years or something? And it's like another bunch of people again, isn't it? A whole nother bunch of. I mean, there are a few regulars that you know for years, but there's a whole nother bunch, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
I think all of us are finding that there are all these other people that are not
sort of
part of the jazz crowd or something.
You sort of have to introduce those people to, if you want to play something more avant-garde, you sort of had to introduce them to it, And that's what I do. Like, I take the first set and I keep stretching it, these standard stretching. Then the next set, as I did tonight, I came around, bang, and I hit them with that thing.
Well, I noticed that last night. The first set, it was, what's happening? But
and yet, sometimes...
By the end of the first set, you were just killing the tunes, and then the second set really burned.
Yeah. So I feel the place out, when I come into the And, in Montreal, I've been disappointed some nights for the whole night at what was happening in the club, And see, the band I'm playing with, they're used to playing bebop type things,
you can tell.
And I know they wanted to play this way, and you hear what's happening now that they're getting a chance to break this.
That's how it happens to a lot of players, isn't it? Once they find out they can get out there a bit, they do, don't they?
But do these people, in terms of, for me getting out there, there's a boundary called before you cross this boundary, you're burning inside the form, but when you get out there, you're going past the form into free playing. Do these people have any affinity, not affinity, but desire, interest in playing beyond?
That's what they're doing there, because for instance, I play a tune there, and then what we're playing, like I'm not playing.
Aren't they keeping
They're
the form?
completely,
I heard
no, they're not. No, they're completely playing free. Like it sounds like that because of what
Right,
I'm playing
because
over top
they're
of what they're playing, you know.
Right.
But none of us have
Is
any.
necessarily hanging on
No, it's
to
completely
the form.
hearing,
Right.
you know. And that's the way I instruct them to play that way. When I play,
Right.
when I start stretching, like you play whatever you want to play, and you listen to what I'm playing, I'll listen to what you're playing, and we'll meet.
Right.
There, you know?
Right.
It's not free though, is it? I mean, it's
Are you-
like listening.
are you
It's a
isn't
different
it?
kind of
It's a-
free, you know.
Are you
Yeah, free
stretching-
is not a good word.
But
is
are
it?
you
no.
stretching the 8 barsness? This is where free to me comes into it. Are you stretching the 8 barness of the phrases of the form?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
See, it doesn't sound like that. May not sound like that. Like,
Because it's happening occasionally.
yeah.
And not all the time, because a lot of the time the form is intact.
Well, I
I feel
guess
it
it
because
depends on what
as a
tune-
musician, I'm sitting there listening, and I'm counting along to see. Oh yeah, are they doing this? Are they doing that?
It might sound like that, but
Right.
on some of the tunes we're doing that, but on some of them we're not
Right,
sticking
right.
to that. For instance, the last tune there.
Of course, that
yeah.
kind of song. Yeah.
No, but like first we played the melody as it is, and then they're completely free to play whatever they want.
Right,
you know?
right.
So,
But when
I
you
just
do
start
milestones, for
searching
example,
there, and milestones,
It's
you
like
have
the
to stick
form
right
is
to the
pretty
form,
intact, yeah, right.
and going outside the form,
right.
yeah. So
But
that's
there, the going outside is like bending and pushing over bar lines, but still
Yeah,
the
that's
bar
right, yeah.
line structure is intact,
Yeah.
and the soloist
Yeah.
is pushing
Yeah,
on
that's right,
top.
And if someone plays within the form too much, like that limits me
Right.
playing outside that form.
Oh yeah,
you know.
yeah.
There were two ladies at our table tonight who said that this really sounds like Sonny Greenwich likes John Coltrane. And then on Monday we went to hear a John Coltrane fake band, Elvin Jones band,
Oh,
which
yeah,
is of
yeah,
course still
yeah.
trying to perpetuate the idea of John Coltrane
yeah.
with Pat LaBarbera and then a couple of other people who
Oh,
don't
yeah.
matter. Is your music something to do with the spirit of John Coltrane?
I think the spirit of John Coltrane, because I never try to play anything like John Coltrane, But that is an interesting point.
Oh, I
because
think
I've
it's a
listened-
very
But the
special
idea
point.
of just
Yeah.
pushing and pushing.
Yeah,
and-
that's me. I mean, that's the way
right.
I play. I've always played like that. When I play with Wes Montgomery in New York, like he said to me, "I'm gonna go tell John Coltrane on you." I said, no, I don't follow what John Coltrane plays at all. I never copy anything. So that's me.
Don't you
I
think
play
this
like
is
that.
a problem with all these saxophone players
Yeah,
that play,
yeah.
try to play like John
John
Coltrane
Coltrane, yeah,
instead of
yeah.
listening to the spirit?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
You're more interested in the
spirit of it.
I think, aren't you?
Yeah.
What does this mean to you, the spirit of John Coltrane? I mean, does it make you? Do you think about him? I mean, I think about Albert Ayler, you see, quite a lot.
yeah.
Do you think
Well,
about John Coltrane in that kind of way?
In the same spirit as you think about Albert, because when you mention Albert Ayler, I feel that's the same thing I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of rising above, the normal thing, spiritually and musically. So that's the only thought I have going towards John Coltrane. Like, the rest of this is me. This is my way of doing it. The ideas came from John Coltrane and Miles Davis and Albert Ayler and Ornette Coleman too.
Years ago,
Yeah.
when you had the chance years ago to play with, I can name. Is it all right if I name all the bands you had a chance to play with?
Sure.
You had a chance to go with Charles Lloyd, with Jack DeJohnette and Ron McClure. You had a chance to stay with John Handy.
Yeah.
You had a chance to play with Coltrane, and I guess the big chance was you had a chance to play with Miles, and all you did was sit around with me and Miles talking about boxing. I remember that.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Why didn't you go with all those guys?
I did plan to go with Miles, but like as I told him, like he'd have trouble getting me into the States, at that time, And he did have trouble. He told me that he'd get his lawyer on it and he'd do it. And he went to New York, and I never heard from him again.
But why didn't you go with Charles Lloyd and
Charles
and
Lloyd?
Jack and
Well,
you know,
see, Charles Lloyd was funny. Like, I went to New York and to play with Charles Lloyd, remember? And I played with him at the Vanguard, and he was funny towards me, like, you know. I mean,
what do you mean funny?
well, you know, I didn't receive a very good reception from him, you know, and that didn't impress me that much, you know. You know how it is in New York sometimes.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
I mean, I've seen the blind pianist Chris. I forget his name now. I forget his name.
Anyway,
You
yes,
probably don't hear of him anymore. Like, but it's a blind pianist. I've seen him go up on the stage with a band, and then the band got into a fight and went off the stage and left him there. You know. I mean, that's New York. I mean, you go to New York and you're expecting to do this thing, and then the thing doesn't happen. You know, like you get funny vibes in New York. I mean, funny things happening to you. You know, and that's what happened to me with Charles Lloyd. Then Charles Lloyd came here after I was more into my thing, and then he said, "Hey, I didn't know you played like this." You know, and see, that's, you know, I was there in New York playing in his band. You know.
And Coltrane?
Coltrane, I never had a chance to play with Coltrane. I had a chance to be at his last session, and I didn't get there to it, you know. Or it was supposed to be canceled, then he did it. You know? But I never had a chance to play with Train at all. You know?
But you played with Elvin
and McCoy. McCoy played with
and-
me at a gig I had in Montreal, you know.
Well, this goes against my image of my, you know, media created image of Sonny Greenwich, the retiring, you know, like backing off of the scene occasionally. It sounds like, is your the fact that you don't play in public as much as you might? Well, this is the impression again I have being in Toronto. This may not be. There's the idea that you might have retreated from the world for what I would call spiritual reasons.
I
The
did
same
that.
way that I might see Sonny Rollins is doing it.
Yeah, I did that. I did that several different times.
And when I've thought about you and why maybe you haven't had a higher profile, I thought, oh, in some way you've chosen this for that
Yes,
reason.
that's
And
true.
I thought Bill was trying to get at that with his questions. Why
yeah.
didn't you go here? Why didn't you go there? Was it because of something?
Yeah, you see, after
was
that
more
did happen to me in New York,
important for
and I came back to Canada, and I started doing my thing, and I was getting more into the spiritual side of it, you know. Then I did decide...
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, here.
Go ahead, man. Talk to it on the. Go ahead.
I'll leave that there.
Okay. Talk about this later, won't we?
Were you playing as much during that time?
If that
When you were
chance.
uncovering the spiritual.
Oh, yeah, I was playing at that time, and then I decided to get more into the spiritual side, and I just stepped outside and left it for a while, you know.
So you stopped playing?
Yeah, I stopped, yeah.
And when was that?
Does that?
When was that?
Was that before the Radio Canada, the Sun Song album?
Oh, that was after that, I think.
After Sun Song?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So, can I?
I'm not very good about the dates, though.
Does getting into the spiritual side of things mean leaving the music for you?
Yeah, it meant it at that time,
You know,
yeah.
because among classical composers, for example, like if you read Hindemith, he says, oh, the act of creating music is a low expression. Really, it exists in this realm of just conception. You can sit around and think the most magnificent thoughts about music. You don't have to go to the crude level of actually reproducing it. Is this an element of...
No, I was looking for the spiritual things, like the religion of the East and those things, and the mystic side of it, you know? That's what I was
And the
looking
music wasn't necessarily part of that.
Hey, calm it down a bit there,
That's the promoter making more noise in the interview. Well, in that period when you were looking you were looking for a kind of new identity, I think, when you moved to Montreal, weren't you?
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, in the period in Toronto, all kinds of things were going on with the various clubs. There were records being made and all that stuff. And when you went to Montreal, you were looking for another kind of a source of inspiration, I feel.
Yeah.
somebody told me they once saw you on the corner of a street professing of religion. Is that true, that you did those kind of things?
There's all kinds of stories like that about me.
Yes, and there used to be all the ladies who dressed in white. Do you remember those ladies who...
I knew some ladies who dressed in white,
And
I used to say to them, "Look, you don't have to dress in white to be spiritual."
I remember all that. I remember that period.
Look at me, I dress in black.
Yeah. And I dress in black because I feel more comfortable in black.
I'm coming around to that myself. Like the colors are getting darker and darker as the years go by. This is a complete left turn, but this is strictly reflecting my personal interest. I love Ornette Coleman. I love what he's doing recently with the guitar, 2 guitars, 2 bass, like his prime time thing. I'd be interested in hearing your opinion. Have you listened to the album of Human Feeling, for example? Or are you familiar with Blood Ulmer and guitars? That, for example, that he's the most applicable because he's a guitar player.
I've listened to a bit of those things. You know, I listen. I refer to them to see what's happening, like what Ornette is doing that. But I don't really relate.
No,
that
not
much
to Ulmer, even, for example.
I haven't heard that much of what he's doing.
I think you have to understand that Sonny really brought about quite an unusual concept of playing the guitar, and there was a
all
period.
the more reason why I would ask that question.
But before Blood Armor and all those people played that kind of idea, it seems to me that I mean I've known him a long time, but I have to say that in the early part of meeting Sonny, that he was interested always in playing lines that weren't to do with being a guitar player. Isn't that true?
Right,
I mean, it was like a more vocal and horn kind of idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wanted to get away from that, playing the way the guitarist played the guitar, you know?
Well, one, that's why I would bring Ulmer up, because you've never heard anybody play more un-guitar-like than Ulmer. He's... But two, that would lead me to a second question.
But then, doesn't he play along a blues line? Blues, you know?
Well, more rather than Ulmer, I would just, for me as a player, composer, thinker about music, I'm really interested in what Ornette tries to explain as harmolodics.
I like Ornette's harmonic sense, you know?
Right. His idea of group playing.
I like
everyone
that.
plays just onward going melodies and harmony be damned. You hold it together.
It's pitch that he's playing from, and I like that idea too.
Even
though I do play that way, but I don't play with the same basic background as he plays with. You know? In fact, I could play with Ornette Coleman because I can think the same way as he thinks, you know. Because I play by pitch myself, you know. Because I don't read music, so I have to play by pitch. You know? But getting back to the thing about myself with guitar, I'm a Canadian, and that's another big point in this. Because I was playing when I played rhythm and blues, then I went to jazz, and then I played in between jazz and rhythm and blues, and I played with an organ, you know. And I think I was playing some more far out things with organ than you ever have heard in the States at that time, but I was never heard, you know. I never could any records out or anything. So then I left that and went to the next thing, you know. So in the States, they have more chance to be recorded than that, and I lost all that, you know, time back there, you know.
Yes, you didn't get the opportunity to record with certain kinds of people and stuff. In fact, there were only 3 records and a single. I mean, of you, isn't it?
That's right.
Why haven't you taken more opportunity to record your music?
Well, I haven't found anybody interested in it. That's really the fact. You know? Even now, I just talked to a record player, record producer in Montreal, and I told you I had that cassette of the strings. Now that's a whole avant-garde thing. It's not. There's only a melody played, and then everything is completely free. You know, and the string players are playing free on one whole side. You know, and my agent, who I have now, she heard that, she flipped on the first side because she could understand the first side. The second side, she couldn't understand it at all. So then she gave it to the recording company, and I haven't heard anything more about that. But I know what's the matter because I know he's scared when he heard that. You know, so and and another thing, I think I understand that a record producer, like, they have to be able to sell the records, right?
Well, I'm a record producer.
Yeah.
And the reason that we never recorded you again was because you would never do what I wanted you to do, which is another point of view, isn't it?
Well, what was that like?
Well, I think in one period you were very involved with having singers with your music.
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And I didn't really want singers with your music.
Yeah.
And there's this other idea of what you just said about saleability. So the idea is to place you with other famous people. You know that idea?
Yeah.
Now you know that doesn't always work, right? I mean, you'd much rather be with the people that you want to play with, even though.
The whole other side of this too is that album you can't buy anymore. The Sackville album you can't buy.
Oh no, but that was what people Sonny wanted to play with in that period.
You can't pick that album up anywhere either. You can only buy one Sonny Greenwich album right now. And maybe if people were exposed more to, had the chance to pick up those albums, there would be a greater demand.
Well, Sonny and I have been having this conversation for years about making a record.
Yeah.
I mean, and it hasn't ever happened because we don't both agree about the same idea, because there's a problem involved in what musicians want to do, isn't there?
I don't know.
And
I'm not a musician.
And
so
what?
I don't consider myself a musician. That's another point. See.
Well, you have to explain that now. I mean, what you mean by that?
I play for people, and I'm not a musician. I don't read music, you know. And music is my.
That doesn't
expression.
stop you being a musician.
No, I'm not a musician. I'm not. You might relate to being a musician, but I do not relate to being a musician at all.
So what do you read? What is it you do?
I express what I feel to express on my guitar with my musicians, with my band. I write the songs and everything, you know. But I don't consider myself a musician. I never have, you know.
Lucky you.
You think you're like a sound source, or?
It could be. Could call it that. Yeah. Because that's what I'm doing with sound, and I keep experimenting with the sound on and on, you know.
Or a person who's holding a guitar.
And I also went very far in the spiritual sense. In fact, I studied all those religions, and I went far. I went far enough to come to the point that you're supposed to come to, which is an opening of the Kundalini energy. And so therefore I still don't, I even more so don't consider myself a musician, you know?
What about the idea, though, but I mean, when you're performing in front of people, you know, who are coming, you know, specifically
They
to
consider
hear
me a
you?
musician. Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm there to play, you know? So it doesn't matter whether they consider me a musician, right? I don't have to say I'm not a musician. You know? That's just my concept. See, that's why I've always been. You know?
How much of the spiritual contact can you retain on stage when you're playing? I mean, can you experience something like Satori on stage?
Well, I think that's where my music is coming from. Like, that's how I do it. You know, it comes from what I learned, what I knew was there, and I knew that energy was there, and I wanted to find out what it was. You know, and the very first time I ever saw that energy was when I saw John Coltrane. Like when I saw him. It was in Buffalo, New York, and I was sitting in the club. I had never seen him before. And I looked across the room, and I saw this man whose eyes were looking through the wall, and I said, that is what I want to be. I knew there was something spiritual about him, and everyone knew that after a while, right? I knew it immediately, you know, and that was
Coltrane was the man?
That was the man that started me spiritually, yeah.
So do you play peace chant anymore?
No. That was a certain time of my life. You know?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's the closest allusion to Coltrane. It's the supreme theme in a way.
Yeah, it is sort of like an inverted love supreme theme.
But the implications there in just the approach to playing, though.
Yeah.
The peaks that you're trying to reach as a group seem to be to take from that idea. From Coltrane's idea of just playing as a means of reaching those peaks.
Yeah, that's right.
If the audience likes it, that's great, but the main thing is to play and play to reach that.
To try to get them to that peak too. Right. By the feeling, you know, to get their emotions to that point.
Right.
Yeah. So my whole basis is spiritual, you know. It's not. It doesn't have anything to do with the musical idea of musician at all. That's just my own way of being, you know.